Welcome, welcome, welcome to another episode of Ready, Set, Talk. I am excited tonight to be having a conversation about holiday stress and taking care of yourself during the holidays. The holidays becomes a busy time where we sometimes forget about self-care and we have a lot of boundaries that are crossed. We have our schedules that get full, overly full. We have a lot of things that happen in the holidays when we don't pay attention. So I'm excited to have my guest tonight, who's also really big on self-care, where we're going to talk about taking care of yourself during the holidays. What does self-care look like, when you're having to entertain or you're having to attend events? So welcome with me tonight, Mrs. Sakita Bing Nelson, who also, like myself, is a licensed professional counselor. And so we're going to dive into this. Sakita, are you ready?
I am.
Wonderful, wonderful. Thank you for joining me tonight. So you know that you and I have often talked about self-care and the importance of self-care on just a normal everyday level, a normal everyday basis of doing the things that keep yourself mentally healthy. And so, but I know that in times past, you have had segments where you have talked about monitoring holiday stress and self-care during the holidays as myself. So, what are some things tonight when you think about self care for the holidays? What are some things tonight you think about that people need to be aware of during this season so that they're engaging in um, appropriate interactions and events and all those things? What do you think are some things that are important?
Well, because the holiday season also creates the start of an increase in seasonal affective disorder. So you can have seasonal affective disorder in different parts of the year, different seasons, but it is extremely heightened during the fall and winter seasons. And because of that, we definitely want to make sure that we're being proactive and using preventative measures um, in regards to self-care to ensure that we are taking care of us. So some things that I would suggest in regards to self-care during this time of the year is try to incorporate maybe a 10 to 15 minute meditation at the start of your day and also at the end of your day to kind of clear your thoughts to at the end of the day and to start your thoughts at the beginning of the day where they're positive and that those thoughts are going to be the driving force of your day. So kind of decreasing that negativity and bringing more positive light into your everyday life. So meditation is one of the easiest, the cheapest forms of self-care.
Mhm. I like that you talk about meditation both at the beginning and at the end, and how when I think about meditation in those two places at the beginning of your day, because you can't predict the things that you're going to encounter, you can't predict the things that are going to may interfere with your day. It is
Mhm.
important to put things in so when you have those stressors or those outside things that interfere, you have something to fall back on. Believe it
Right.
or not, we fall back on what we put in. So if you put nothing in, you have nothing to fall back
Fall
on.
back on.
And
Right.
I like it. I like that you said at the end of the day, because so much has happened during the day, you need time to detox. You
Right.
need time to give yourself credit, for the things you did accomplish. You need time to forgive yourself for the things you felt you did not accomplish or the mistakes you may have made during the day. So having that sandwich, having your day sandwich with the meditation is a great way to make sure you're staying grounded and being involved in self-care during the holidays. One of the other things I think about, in addition to the affirmations and the putting the things in the beginning and end, is also establishing boundaries in the holiday.
Oh yeah, most definitely establishing boundaries. Yeah. Because you're going to have a lot of family coming in and out, with Thanksgiving and Christmas coming around. You're going to have a lot of people in need during this time.
Mhm.
This is the season for giving and
Yeah.
manipulation.
Yes.
So you definitely want to set those boundaries because people just assume that, you're going to give, and that takes away from you. So definitely setting boundaries is probably the most important form of self-care.
Right. Right. Right.
Hmm.
And
Yeah.
those boundaries need to be identified, communicated, and reinforce.
Reinforce, identify, communicated, and redirected several times. And
yes,
most definitely.
Yes, because don't think just because you set a boundary that people are going to automatically follow it, especially if they're not used to you having boundaries. There's going to be some resistance, some pushback, some let me test to see if she or he is really serious. So redirect it over and over again until they get it. Yeah. And think about, setting boundaries. You have to work on that feeling of guilt that comes along when you have to set those boundaries, because with setting boundaries also comes the word no.
Right.
And so, how do I tell a person no? And here's the thing I think about that I tell people all the time. Sometimes we don't say no because we feel like we have to have this long drawn out excuse that makes sense.
Right.
But that's not true. No in itself is an explanation.
That's it. And it's a universal term. In every language, no is no.
No is no.
That has become probably my most easily term to use nowadays. No. And I say it with such a big smile. Because people will take advantage of you, and you have to know that it's okay for you to say no without any explanation. Right. It's a complete sentence. It doesn't require anything else. Because when you say no and you have an explanation behind it, then individuals that want to cross those boundaries, they're going to take that explanation as a way for them to be able to, overturn those boundaries that you set. So just say no and keep it that way. You don't owe anything else afterwards.
Absolutely. And overturning those boundaries, that's when that manipulation come in.
Yes, that's when the manipulation comes in.
They're looking for that loophole to get in to see just how strong these boundaries are. So saying no and being okay with saying no and not feeling guilty because you have to say no. No is also a survival word if you think about it.
Mm-hmm.
No will help you survive a lot of things. It's going to prevent a lot of, things from happening. So saying no is an important word in the vocabulary.
Yeah. And we have to teach our kids that it's okay for them to say no as well.
Yeah.
And without any explanation.
Yeah. And when people try to challenge their no, they need to be firm and consistent with no is no. And letting people know that I'm confident that you have to respect that no. So during the holidays, be okay with saying no, and don't try to attend. And here's where no will come in. Don't try to attend every event. Just because you're invited does not mean you have to attend, right?
Right. So that is a good one. I didn't even think about that. Holidays again, November, December, January, you got Thanksgiving, you got Friendsgiving, you got Christmas, and you got holiday parties, and everybody is doing something. Don't overextend yourself, because when you overextend yourself, that is not a good practice of self-care. You have to, your body will tell you when it's time for you to lay down. And if you're not listening to your body when it tells you to stop, then your mind starts to take over.
Right.
And your mind will definitely function in the place of your body.
Mm-hmm.
Something's going to shut down. So definitely not overextending yourself, especially for my people pleasers, those that feel like, they have to be giving to everyone mentally, emotionally, and physically. You can't be at two places at one time. You don't even have to be at one place at one time if you don't want to.
Right.
So stop overextending yourself to appease other people.
Right. Absolutely. As you were talking about that, one of the things I thought about during this holiday season and overextending yourself would be people who are codependent. And so people, when you say codependent, people will say, I support myself. I'm a strong person. And that's not what codependency is. No. Codependent people will do things that hurt them to maintain a relationship. Right. So rather than say no or not do something, you're going to do it even though it hurts you, because you want to maintain those relationships. And you have to be careful of that. You are damaging yourself emotionally, mentally, and physically to maintain a relationship. And when you have to go to that extent to maintain a relationship, really not a relationship.
It's not a relationship. And what that does, the codependency, it opens up the door for toxicity within those relationships.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So you definitely want to be cautious of that as well.
Absolutely.
It's okay to function as an individual and not being tied in with all that other extra stuff.
Yeah. And I think if I had to give another piece of advice, it would be spend some time by yourself during the holiday. Self-reflecting is going to be so important. We should be doing it throughout the year, but especially going into this new year, spend make it a point to spend some time alone.
Yeah. Those last 3 months of the year should definitely be real, heavily spent on self-reflection so that you can know, what is feasible for me to take into the new year. What am I leaving, in 2023? You should definitely be setting goals, for the incoming year in 2024. And sometimes in setting those goals, you have to do it alone. You have to spend a lot of time with yourself.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And sometimes spending time with yourself can be kind of challenging and fearful for people, because what I have to face when I spend time alone, I have to face everything, the good, the bad, and the ugly. But let me tell you, when you actually face it and you deal with it, it's healing.
It is. It should be a part of your healing journey. You spending time by yourself. I get a lot of people that say that, if I take time for myself, I'm a mom, I'm a wife, I got to take care of my mother, I got to take care of my father. So me spending time with myself and reflecting is selfish. It is perfectly fine for you to be selfish.
Perfectly fine. That's my
okay. Being selfish.
To be selfish. Yes. Yeah, you should be selfish.
You definitely should be selfish. That is not a negative term.
Right.
It is not a negative term. It's okay for you to be able to sit by yourself, take time to reflect. If it's binge watching a TV show, if it's sitting, in the comforts of your home and writing in your journal, listening to music, getting those things that are, in your thoughts and writing them down somewhere so that you can process and reflect later on. You got to spend time with yourself.
Absolutely. Or even just spending a half a day in the bed and don't get up until 12 o'clock.
That's my plans for the weekend, and I'm excited about it.
Yes, I did that one day. I just stayed in the bed. It's like, you know what? I got up and I was like, I don't feel like this. And I laid back down and I was absolutely fine. And guess what? The world kept going. Nothing stopped because I laid in the bed.
But you know what is difficult for some people to do in regards to sleeping in and laying in the bed? They deal with a lot of projected anxieties associated with that. Yeah. So I know for me, and I always share this story. I grew up in a household where Saturdays were cleaning days. We weren't sleeping past 10 o'clock in the morning. We were up. Everybody had a chore. And if you didn't have a chore, you go outside while the adults clean. And I found that as I got older, that disrupted my sleep cycle on the weekend. So I was up because I felt guilty sleeping in. And I had to take a step back and make sure that I didn't project anything off on my kids that was projected onto me when I was, younger. So I allow my kids to sleep in. Now, not till 1 to 2 o'clock, but I do allow them to, sleep in. And once they get things situated, you can lay around in your PJs and stay on your phone. You can write or do whatever you need to do.
And so did you guys hear what she just said? She said it is okay to stop unhealthy traditions.
Yeah.
It is okay not to do it if it's not healthy. Just because it has been done all of your life doesn't mean it has to keep going.
Right. Yeah. We have to create our own traditions. We have to, create those things for ourselves that may differ from what we did growing up. Right. Now, everything that we did growing up is okay for us to do now.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And it's healthy to reevaluate those things.
Most definitely.
Yeah. I think, as I think about the holidays, one of the big things of self-care, and most people won't think of this as self-care, but your finances.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Feeling the need to buy gifts for everybody, and not just buy gifts. You want to buy expensive gifts. You're charging the credit cards up. And then in January, you have to come and talk to me and Sakita because you're stressed.
Yeah.
Because you're overextended.
You're overextending yourself. Yeah. To please other people.
People.
Sometimes gifts could be the words that you say out of your mouth. It doesn't necessarily have to come in monetary form. Yeah. One tradition that we practice, we don't give gifts. We have over the past few years taken a few families and anonymously donating to those families to give them Christmas because we give throughout the year.
Right.
That's something that's definitely common. So we don't put big emphasis on Christmas and gift giving in our household. We may go out of town and take a trip and just relax.
Right.
That's it. No gift. My kids don't ask for gifts.
And guess what? That's a gift. It's a gift to yourself. As a
Right.
matter of fact, that was our subtitle: self-care, the gift to yourself.
The gift
And
to yourself.
thinking about it like that, what am I giving me? Because the thing about it is, I can give me things, but those things are going to break. Those things are going to get old. Those things are going to get ragged, or you're just not going to like those things the day after Christmas,
Right.
or come January. But when I give myself something that allows me to rejuvenate, that allows me to restore, that allows me to put my body and my mind in a healthy place, that's a gift I can't replace.
Right.
That's a gift that's not only I'm giving myself in that moment, but I'll be giving myself, that gift will allow me to keep giving myself, because guess what? Now I'll have the energy, I'll have the mental capacity, I'll have the focus and everything I need to do the next task when I return, and to keep going another 3 or 4 months until it's time to do it again. But if I don't give myself that gift of self-care, I'm robbing myself.
And it also goes back when you talk about finances and wanting to make sure that we're buying gifts for people, paying a lot of attention to the type of gifts, how much money we're spending on those gifts as well. One of the things that you said earlier was being able to create those new traditions for your family, breaking away from those cycles that you had when you were growing up, and introducing something as new. Because if you're giving gifts and you're giving these expensive gifts, what do you think is going to happen the next year? How are you going to top that gift? So then now stress, it's a lot of stress that goes into buying gifts.
Yes.
Especially when you think about, what did I buy last year? Oh my God, I got this last year, so I have to top this gift.
Absolutely.
And there's going to be a level of stress that comes along with it.
Yes, yes.
And stress can lead to other mental health disorders.
Absolutely. And I don't think people know that. One of our guests said, stress and broke. Yes.
Right.
Two dynamics that's working against each other, stress and broke. And so which do you fix? Which can you fix? So don't even, let's just eliminate one altogether. We can eliminate the broke. Well, we can eliminate both of them, because if you're not stressed about buying the gifts, you're not going to be broke. So it's not going to create more stress. And so, in thinking about that, and the thing about it is, when you think about your money, and when you think about the finances, and when you think about the gifts, one of the things that can help you with the gifts is to ask yourself, why am I giving this gift?
Right.
Am I giving this gift because I want to be a blessing to somebody? Or am I giving this gift because I want somebody to like me? Or I don't want them to say something bad about me, or I don't want to seem like I don't want people to think I don't have it.
Right. Or are you just giving it for show?
Yeah.
So you definitely have to think about the reason why you're giving it. Are you giving it because this person really does need it?
Right.
Are you giving it because it's something that's coming from your heart, or are you giving it for your own gratification?
Absolutely. Absolutely. I tell you, I think we really want you guys to understand the importance of being aware during the holiday seasons. You have to really be aware, because things are moving fast. It's the holidays. You're always doing something, it's festive and it's fun and it's all of these things going on, and you can get caught in that it's almost like a
whirlwind?
Yeah, a whirlwind. Or it is, like a tornado will catch things up and then sling it.
Yeah.
And that's how the holidays will do it. Will catch you up in that whirlwind and sling you. And by the time you hit the ground, it's like, what happened and how did I get here? So now is the time to start thinking about the holidays. Now, that's why we're having this before the physical holidays began. So you have some tools that you can use going into the holidays to bring balance to your life. We just want you to have balance. I'm not trying to take away the fun, because I enjoy the holidays, but I enjoy the holidays with balance. And one thing people ask me is, are you cooking? No, I'm not. I might bake a cake or something. This person is cooking something. This person is cooking something. This person is doing. Why do you feel the need to have to do everything? And you can't even enjoy it because you're tired.
Right. So that's a big one too, because we do spend a lot of time in the kitchen, Thanksgiving and then Christmas, probably cooking the same meals. So if we're in the kitchen all day cooking and cleaning and straightening up, for guests to come over, what have you done for yourself during that time? Because you don't even have the opportunity to enjoy it because you're tired.
Absolutely. And most of the time you don't get to eat the food because it's all gone by the time
it's all gone, or you don't want to eat it because you're too exhausted.
Yeah. Wow. So we hope that you guys are taking some of these tips and tools and, saying, looking at your holiday season and thinking, how am I progressing at this point? What are some of these things that I hear that I'm beginning already to do? Or what are some things I hear and I did this last year and I know the outcome wasn't good, so I want to avoid it this year so that I can really have a festive time and enjoy the meaning of the season and be involved, so the holiday self-care it's something that you want. Remember, no is a complete sentence. You don't need an explanation to say no.
Right.
Put those boundaries in place. You need to identify those boundaries, communicate those boundaries, enforce and reinforce and redirect those boundaries. Remove the guilty feeling. Stop feeling guilty for taking care of yourself. You got to take care of yourself. If you don't take care of you, nobody else is going to take care of you.
Right. And understanding that self-care doesn't come in, you don't, it doesn't always have to be the monetary aspect of things. Yeah, you can go and get your massages, and you can go and get your nails and get your pedicure done. But the most rewarding thing that you can give to yourself is time and respect.
Time and respect. And just allow your mind to have time when it doesn't have to do anything.
Mm-hmm.
Give it that time, give your mind that time to just detox. Because remember, you're constantly taking stuff in. Like in our position, we're taking stuff in all day. And it's not just our stuff, it's other people's stuff. It's, our family stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So we have to stop and say, let me pull back and let me get rid of some of this stuff.
Yeah. So I do have a question for you. As a therapist, what is something that you do that you no longer do that you used to do prior to being a therapist in order to protect your peace outside of the office?
So one of the things, and it's interesting that this is always my example. I always, in the past, felt the need to answer every phone call.
I was going to say,
if a person called me for some reason, I felt the need. I had to answer that call because I had to help solve problems. And, they might have needed me for something important. Honey, that's a lesson I have learned. When I tell you, I will look at that phone and be like, and here's what I do. I don't do it out of spite or meanness. I always evaluate who's calling me. Now, the people that's calling you.
Yeah.
People will call you and say, are you busy? And you say yes, and they'll keep talking.
Yep.
Absolutely. So I have to know who's calling me. And when I know who's calling me, I can answer or not answer accordingly. And then at the time that's convenient for me, I will call back. And here's another thing I don't allow. I don't allow people if you call me, and I don't answer, when I do call you back, please don't ask me why I didn't answer your call. I don't even answer that question. What do you mean why I didn't answer your call? I'm probably going to tell you because I didn't want to at that time.
Right.
And not feel guilty about it. Now, it took me some time to get there, but once I got there, I became okay with it because guess what? If it's life or death anyway, that's what 911 is for. I can't do anything. I'm going to call the ambulance for you.
Right.
And clients, we have processes. We have things in place for them. If they need us outside of those times, we have things in place for them that's to help them. So answering the phone calls, I don't feel obligated to do that anymore. So I don't.
You don't answer phone calls.
Not I don't answer. I don't answer if I know I don't want to talk.
If you don't want to talk,
Yes.
I think that I found that, from doing therapy, I don't like talking on the phone. I don't like talking on the phone. Mm-hmm. I'll have a conversation with you, but one of the things that my husband has picked up on is that I end the call abruptly.
Mm-hmm.
Like I have no closure for a phone conversation because we talk all day.
We talk all day, all day long. Even when we call each other, we don't stay on the phone long. It's
not long at all.
What are we calling for? How are you doing? Have a good day. And that's it. I don't think our phone calls ever last longer than 15 minutes. Ever.
Not long at all.
Yeah.
No, I get lost in conversations because I start thinking about something else.
Yeah.
I am not a good communicator outside of therapy when it comes to talking on the phone.
Yeah. I tell you, therapy has taught me a lot.
Yeah, it has.
Self-care.
Mm-hmm. It definitely has. You have to be able, because we do take in so much on a regular basis. And I think one analogy that I do give my clients, is imagine going to an airport and you got your carry-on bag. It's not a check bag, it's a carry-on. And you're going with, 4 of your friends, and your friends don't have a carry-on bag. One has a sweatshirt, one has a pillow, one has some shoes, one has socks, and they're asking you to put your stuff on their carry-on bag. And now you're dragging it through the airport. By the time you board that flight, that bag gonna break. They've given you all of their things. So when you start to allow people to project and hold your stuff, what are your expectations for them? Because now they're taking it to the point where they're breaking themselves. We have a process. We've been educated, on how to be able to decompress from sessions throughout the day.
Absolutely.
Some sessions are draining.
Absolutely.
Literally. It takes a lot out of us. I have left sessions, hour-long sessions, and I have been sick to my stomach after those sessions because some of the things, not necessarily what I've heard, but some of the things that I've taken on. And sometimes I have to stop before I even go into another session. I have to pray. I have to meditate before I can restart again and cleanse my office after that. So it's something that's not being projected onto my next client.
Absolutely. You are absolutely right. I remember a session was so draining. I sat at my desk and I had to take a 5-minute nap. I could not physically could not move from my desk. I had to lay my head on my desk and take a 5-minute nap. That was the only way I was going to recover at that moment because it had taken so much out of me. And I think what we've learned is that when we're talking to people, it's not just about listening. We have to almost internalize it because we got to help you resolve it.
Most definitely.
Our goal is to help you find solutions. And so I have to almost become partner with you in the situation, help you find the solution, and then come back out of the situation.
Right.
And then go into another. So it's almost like a going in the gate, come out of the gate, going in the gate. And all of those gates don't necessarily open easy. And all of those gates don't close easy. So self-care is absolutely something that we as therapists and you guys who are professional people have to think about. You're not just carrying your stuff, you're carrying other people's stuff.
Other people's stuff as well. Yeah. So it's definitely important, especially even if you're customer facing. Like if you work in retail, if you work at a grocery store, like you come in contact with a lot of different people. So it's very important that you have a daily regimen of self-care. If that is sitting down in a hot tub, taking a shower, taking a break to do what I call water therapy.
Right.
And that's basically taking some room temperature water, paying attention to the way that water streams through your body and allowing yourself to calm down within those, within that moment. So everyone should have some form of self-care regimen on a regular basis.
Right. Because when you don't, what happens is you project it on your family.
You either project it or you suppress it.
Yeah.
And, that suppression leads to buildup, and that buildup leads to explosion. So we don't want to explode.
Absolutely. You become like a pressure cooker.
Yep.
And the top comes off prematurely.
And
so
to the person that's the closest, your comfort. It could be your children. It could be your spouse. They ain't did nothing. But because you aren't taking care of yourself, now they got to get what somebody else is supposed to.
Absolutely.
Not what somebody else was supposed to get, but they get all of that other stuff.
All of the other stuff. Because when a pressure cooker explodes, I always tell people, think about it. When it explodes, it affects everything around it.
Everything.
So you really have to think about it. So what are some closing and final words you would like to say about self-care during the holiday, Miss Sakita Bing Nelson?
Okay, so in closing, I would definitely say don't take self-care as I have to go out here and spend a bunch of money to go and get this, 90-minute hot stone massage, this pedicure and this manicure. It can be the most simplest things. It can be taking 5 minutes, sitting outside, taking some fresh air. It could be 10 minutes, a 10-minute break, walking around, your office or wherever you may work at. It could be sitting in your car, listening to, your favorite song, listening to gospel music. It could be taking 5 minutes to write in a journal, setting boundaries, telling people no. All of those are important forms, are the simplest forms of self-care.
Right.
If you do have the, financial abilities to, get yourself a massage, do the manicure, do the pedicure, do some type of acupuncture or something like that, then cool. Yeah, do those things.
Mhm.
However, know that you don't have to spend money to take care of yourself.
Right.
And it's okay to be selfish.
It's okay to be selfish. It's okay to be selfish. And the final word to you in taking what Sakita said, take all of that and put yourself on the calendar. Just like you put your doctor's appointment, you put all of your appointments on the calendar, make yourself an appointment.
Yeah.
Say every Wednesday at 10 o'clock, this is about me. Or every Thursday for 2 hours, put yourself on the calendar and make it just as important as anything else that you would put on the calendar. Don't try to fit yourself in. Make room for yourself.
Yourself. No one else but you.
No one else but you.
Yeah.
This has been good, and I appreciate you doing this for me and with me. We always talk about the self-care stuff and calling each other and bouncing stuff. So I think this was really good. Thank you so much for tuning in. We thank you for joining us tonight. I hope that we have said something that's going to help you get through this holiday season and understand the importance of self-care, and not just understand, but engage in self-care activities. So if you need either one of us, feel free to reach out. You can find us on Facebook at Sakita Nelson, or me at Dr. Ann Cares. And what's your phone number, Sakita?
My assistant number is 912. My assistant self-care. 912-373-6745.
One more time.
912-373-6745.
Wonderful. And my assistant number, self-care, is 912-349-0030. That's 912-349-0030. Thank you so much. Have a wonderful evening and have a very blessed holiday season. God bless you. See you next month. Bye-bye.
Real issues affecting real people in real life. Ready, set, talk. Real issues affecting real people in real life. Ready, set, talk. Come on and talk about it. We're gonna talk about it. Let's all talk about it. 'Cause we're real people in real life. Ready, set, talk.